Alright, this is probably gonna be the only time I'm ever just gonna open up my audio recording software and just ramble without having like a script or something I want to talk about, because this is actually pissing me off. Like, this game has pissed me off a lot of different times in the past, and it's been pissing me off with recent killer releases, mechanics that they introduced to the game that I feel like are unnecessary. But now it's just a trend. The BHVR just really doesn't want survivors to have fun with the game anymore, or even killers at this point. If you guys don't know, they just released a dev post or a developer update or something like that, which is basically a place where they talk about updates that are going to be coming to DBD in the future. Most of these, or I should say like 90% of these, which is still most, but like the vast majority of what they talk about in these posts actually come into the game, even if they get backlash, because BHVR doesn't really like listening to community feedback. They have something against their own player base, and they feel like they know better than the players that play the game, which is usually the case. But when you make updates such as these, it just feels like they have no clue what the fuck they're doing with the game at this point. Basically what they're doing is that they're removing locker saving, or you know, when killers grab survivors out of the locker, you can flashlight save them if you time it pixel perfectly, and they mess up the save timing every single update. So it's like the highest skill thing you can do in DBD when it comes to flashlight. And on top of that, they're making regular flashlight saves easier. So they're just removing everything that requires skill in this game. What? So DBD is going to be what? About doing gens? And if that was the only fun mechanic they were changing, I wouldn't mind it. But it's been a trend recently. The reason I'm making this video is not even because of this idea of this removing locker saving from the game thing. It's because of the fucking trend. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but pretty much every singular update that they're releasing to the game recently is just simply removing fun mechanics from the game. Fun, most of the time unintended mechanics from the game. They removed flashlight clicking because apparently it was for people that have epilepsy, but that doesn't make sense because there are a lot of other things in the game that could cause people to have seizures while playing the game, but they just chose to remove flashlight clicking for some reason. And on top of that, they fucked up flashlights forever. Now you blind the ground because they thought that was a good idea, and they also changed the fucking sound. They nerfed tryhard, which in my opinion, and I don't really like talking about the tryhard change because I have a very different opinion to most other people. I never really thought that tryhard was the strongest exhaustion perk in the game. I always really used tryhard for fun. They removed that, and now it's just a perk that you have to time perfectly, just so when you actually do pull it off, you get punished anyway with a deep wound status effect. And then they removed the CJ tech. Like, who the fuck ever complained about being CJ teched? That has to be like the most counterable mechanic in the game, and they just went ahead and got rid of it. And now they fucked up locker saving. What are we gonna have left? Like, all we're gonna be able to do is just sit on gens, man. Removing skill and fun mechanics from the game is the best way to kill your game. I don't think anyone plays Dead by Daylight to do generators at this point. Like, who cares about winning the game? Who cares about escaping? We're trying to have fun, and they just keep removing fun mechanics from the game. We pretty much have nothing left at this point. Like, nothing interesting that you can do in this game anymore. Those are like mechanics that have been in the game for so long that it's just part of the game at this point. Like, you're removing actual mechanics from the game. You're making the game easier to play, and anything that doesn't have a high skill ceiling is bound to fail in the long run. If there's nothing to learn, then people will learn the game way too fast, and they're just gonna leave because the game gets boring. Shit, I wouldn't have 1,000 hours or almost 2,000 hours at this point in this game if those mechanics didn't exist. I wouldn't be playing DBD to sit on generators and escape the game after. At this point, I'm scared that they're gonna get rid of looping. You know, you can't walk through pallets anymore. You just instantly drop them if you get close to them. That sounds like a fucking joke, I know. That sounds dumb, but that might actually happen. I have no clue. They're just destroying the game. I don't think any game I've ever played in my entire life actually discouraged having fun. BHVR is going down a very, very bad road, and they're going to kill the game. I know that sounds dramatic and all. This is a video idea I had for a long time. I was gonna post a video with this exact same title when they nerfed flashlights, but most of the changes they were making actually had some meaning behind it. Like they actually had some reasoning behind it. Like the CJ tech, the reason the CJ tech no longer works in the game is because now whenever you drop a pellet that has a survivor underneath it, the survivor goes towards you instead of towards the killer. And then the flashlight change was because of people with epilepsy. But as other people have pointed out, and I myself hadn't noticed it, there are a lot of killer mechanics in the game that could still cause epilepsy or cause seizures on people that have epilepsy, but they just chose to remove the flashlight. And it just feels at this point like they're purposefully misleading people into thinking that they're making the updates for a different reason, when the real reason is, like, you know, for the flashlights, for example, because of clicking, and they don't want the killers rage quitting because of survivors clicking. And the CJ tech, that might be frustrating to newer players. Like, if they were doing it because of that, then why not just say it? Like, we're changing it because of this, we're changing the CJ tech because we feel like it's more beneficial to survivors, have them go towards them so they can stun the killer and then pick them up. Like, when they're misleading people into thinking that the reason that they're changing the mechanics is different to what most people think, it's just disingenuous. And this is all conspiracy. I know, this is my theory. It might not be the case, but the game keeps feeling more and more clunky, and less things are possible, less plays are possible, less skill expression is possible in the game. And all in all, the game is just less fun. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I know this video is going to be controversial, especially because I talked about tryhard. People love focusing on one thing I say in the video, even if the rest of the video makes sense. They just hyper focus on one thing I said. So expect a lot of people in the comment section. Expect a lot of people in the comment section to talk about how tryhard was actually the best break in the game. That's okay. This is just my piece, and yeah, I have nothing else to say. Hope you guys enjoyed my rumble.
Woof.